Hello, I'm Giselle Wallace, lesbian life coach and author. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope that you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for visiting me, and I am so grateful for your presence. And I just want to talk about when I knew I was gay. We have our moments when we are surprised about who we are or who we've become. And I just think that it's wonderful to have those experiences and embrace them. Sometimes when you are gay, you're a little, hesitant about this epiphany, and you can just want to avoid it, run from it, act like it didn't happen, or erase it. And I get all of those feelings because I went through all of them. However, I never forgot when I knew I was gay. It always stayed with me, and I just want to share that moment with you, that memory with you, because it's very reflective of my journey, as well as I am part of my past and my present, and I think it's important that all of it is discussed and communicated to yourself before you are able to express it to someone else. So how I knew I was gay, I'm from Texas, and at the time I lived in California, and I was 9 years old. And what I thought was so cool about living in California is they would just have, if you know what a block party is where you can actually go and celebrate with the community, whatever the special occasion is. And the patrolmen, the police officers have the street blocked off for that special event. A lot of people come out, are happy and joyous. Well, it was kind of like that scenario. The block was crowded with a lot of people. It almost looked like a parade setting, and the band came out, and I love the bands. I remember being in high school and just having prep rallies or games, whether there was a football game, a basketball game. We enjoyed celebrating the bands. That's pretty much everybody. From high school to university level, you enjoy the band. So the environment was that type of feel and setting. And I was out there, and all of a sudden the band was coming out and the majorettes were dancing, the young ladies at the front in their beautiful bikini outfits. They looked gorgeous, of course. And it was just one particular lady that stood out to me. It was like I was frozen for a moment just looking at her, and everybody else disappeared. I was like, wow, and it was her face, her physique. She was really gorgeous, beautiful Black woman, and she started out with the entrance, and she had a baton, and she could twirl a baton like a pro. I don't know how you learn how to twirl a baton, but if anybody knows how to twirl a baton, let me know, because I think I want to pick up that skill. And she had it to the T. So I was just mesmerized, and I knew it was more than just about her performing well with the baton. And she caught my attention because it was like an intrinsic attraction. And I just knew in my spirit, I like women. I'm attracted to women. But of course I kept that a secret for a very long time. And I just knew I was different. I didn't know what the word gay or lesbian meant. I was 9 years old. It's just a feeling. It's an intrinsic, natural thought presence that you have that no one can give you and no one can take away from you. And you can't even get rid of it, honestly. You can actually deny it. You can act like it didn't happen. But at the end of the day, it happened, and it stays with you forever. So the best thing to do is to embrace your experience and embrace yourself, because it makes life a little bit more easier and joyous for you. So I just remember that, and there's more later on in my life that I experienced that also helped me realize this is more than just one person that I'm attracted to. I began to realize that it wasn't just one particular woman. I began to realize that it was any woman that I found attractive, and that stayed with me. And I just embraced it, even though I knew I couldn't tell anyone, because I actually grew up in a very religious, homophobic family. And we went to church every Sunday, every Wednesday. And it seemed like the preacher couldn't have a lesson, a message, without telling gay people that they were actually sinners and they needed to repent. So I knew at some point that it was not deemed appropriate to people in the religious sector, at least. And eventually over time, I learned that it seemed like it was more than just at church. It was at home, because if something came on TV, and it was, back then, you know, I grew up in the early 90s and I was born in the 80s, but nothing on TV reflected gay people at that time. I mean, nothing in the TV, nothing on the news, nothing. The way I found out through my family that being gay was a problem was at church. You always have someone at the church who everybody, you know, knows is gay. And that's how I would hear about people saying, oh no, he's gay, or oh, she's a lesbian. And it was just always a negative reaction that people had. And when they would talk about someone who was gay, it was always them mocking them. It was always something very intrusively rude that they would comment about them. And that made me actually stay quiet about who I am and who my thoughts were. However, there was an experience I had, and it was actually my grandmother who revealed to me that I was gay. And there's more to that story. It was a different experience, an experience I'll never forget, because it's one thing for you, me, myself, and I to know and recognize, hey, I have feelings for women, I'm attracted to women. But it's a whole nother experience when someone else knows that you're gay, that you're lesbian, that you're bisexual. Someone else knows and you didn't tell them. So that happened to me at a very young age in my life. And I actually share my story, my experience in my book, She a Lesbian? Finding My Identity in Genesis. You can get all the details in my book about my journey and experience. And all I can say is that my grandmother was not excited about me being a lesbian. And I'll never forget that. It caused me actually to go more within my shell. I was a naturally quiet person. Some people describe that as being shy, but I don't think I was ever shy. I wasn't timid or intimidated by people. I processed information internally. I was a quiet person, very observant. They didn't really talk about this word at the time when I was growing up, but they call it introverted. So I learned that much later in life, that people would consider me as an introverted person. And you know, when you're observing the world and you're seeing how people respond to people who are like you, and if it's not a good experience, then it causes you either to do one or two things. Either it makes you to be really bold and come out and be yourself and say to the world, I know you don't like who I am, but I love who I am, which is awesome. I think that is wonderful if you can be that early on in your life. But there's certain circumstances that happen to you, especially when you are a child, because I was a child when I knew I was gay. And I was a child when my grandmother revealed to me that I was gay. And it was not acceptable in our household. My grandmother raised me and my father raised me. And my mother was in my life, but my father had custody of me. So I lived with him and my grandmother. And I tell you, it was quite an experience to go through life being yourself, but not able to be yourself to the world because they would reject you. They didn't accept you for who you are. But I tell you, I'll never forget when I was gay. It doesn't go away. It's made me to be who I am today. And I'm thankful for who I am today. And I'm thankful for you. I hope that you know who you are. And I hope that you embrace who you are as well. I'm so glad you're here listening to me today. And I love to learn more about you. You can let me know in the comments. And feel free to look at my description box. I have all of my contact information. And you can also purchase my book through Amazon.com, She a Lesbian, Finding My Identity in Genesis. And my story is more than just about me. It's about knowing what it's like to be a lesbian, knowing what it's like to be in this world as a gay person, and everybody around you considers you odd or strange or different. But at the end of the day, you know who you are. I know who I am. And I know more importantly, God knows who I am, and He accepts me. So that's why I accept myself. Have a wonderful, beautiful day. God bless you.